1980, Worcestershire, England. 2.5 months before Led Zeppelin splits. Bonzo stops off for a drink at the pub with his driver Rex King on the way to rehearsals for the upcoming American tour. He consumes 4 double vodkas.
You know, John Bonham had been drinking really heavily for at least 3 years prior to that, and I think everybody around him had gotten used to it. And I think John Bonham was just in such a bad place. Nobody was actually paying attention to the fact that this is a guy who was really not coping at all well.
Bonzo must have known that alcoholism was killing him. Alcohol was his master at this point.
By the time he reaches Bray Studios for rehearsals, Bonzo is completely drunk.
Bonham was terrified of the prospect of going back. When he was in America, he turned into a monster. They all did in a certain way. He didn't want to go, but he felt compelled. I mean, if you're the drummer in Led Zeppelin and you're John Bonzo Bonham and they're going to tour America, well, you've got to go, right?
So that final day when he could no longer play in these rehearsals, that's a real indicator of how far gone he'd gone. You know, that must be very shocking for his bandmates. They were used to him being able to knock anything back and still be able to play those drums.
With Bonzo wrecked, the band gives up on rehearsals, and members find their way back to Jimmy's at the old mill house in Windsor. After drinking 40 shots of vodka, Bonzo eventually crashes out.
He's passed out. There's a bit of relief. Oh, thank Christ, you know. The roadie gets him up to the bed, slings him in there, closes the door, and no one goes back in there, what, for another 12 hours or something?
Bonzo is propped up with pillows in an attempt to keep him safe.
And that's it. That's the last anyone sees of Bonham alive.
The next day, the band waits downstairs for Bonzo to appear. When he doesn't, JBJ and tour manager Benji Lefebvre go upstairs to check on him.
There's no movement, there doesn't seem to be any kind of sign of life.
He's vomited, choked on his own vomit, and he's dead. It's the classic tawdry rock star end.
Found dead in bed yesterday in London at the home of the group's guitarist, Jimmy Page.
John Bonham, drummer with the British rock group Led Zeppelin since its inception in 1968, was found dead today at the home of a friend in Windsor, England. Bonham was 32.
The service was at the tiny 13th century Paris church at Cutnell Green near Kidderminster, less than a mile from the Star's luxury farm home. But it was a million miles from the industry that made and perhaps destroyed him. Apart from the other members of the band, Jimmy Page, Robert Plant and John Paul Jones, it was just family and friends who packed the church for the quarter-hour service. There were, though, the tributes from John's contemporaries, this giant wreath from Paul McCartney and Wings. Another, inside the church, was from his parents. It read, Superstar, but to us, just son. Although the time and place had been closely guarded, some fans were there too.
Good morning. Could I just interrupt you all? Why are you here this morning?
Yeah, respect to.
Where are you all from? You come down just to pay your last respects this morning? Yeah. What did the news of John's death mean to you all?
Very tragic.
Right, us, do you think that Led Zeppelin can go on now?
Well, they could, but they just wouldn't be the same again.
I don't think they will. Just no one can replace one.
It was just an individual.
As the cortege moved off for Worcester Crematorium, the other members of Led Zeppelin left via back door. It was, after all, the time for John's relatives, not for them.
John Bonham is dead. Robert leaves immediately to try to reach Bonzo's wife Pat before the press can get to her. Within hours, the news leaks out and the world knows that John Bonham has died. Fans and press speculate that once again, another tragedy with the ill-fated band was due to Jimmy's obsession with the occult.
Some fans blamed his dabbling in black magic, which of course is ridiculous, but it shows how entrenched in that world both the band and their fans have become.
John was buried on October 12, 1980, at St. Michael's Church, Worcestershire, England. The 3 remaining band members attend. December 4th, 1980, London. Just over 2 months after the tragic death of Bonzo, Led Zeppelin finally speaks to its fans. The band releases a statement effectively announcing its breakup, but in true Led Zeppelin style, it's full of ambiguity. In it they claim, with the deep sense of undivided harmony, they could not continue as they were.
When they about his death, there was this element of kind of leaving it could be open. Fans were maybe teased with the option that perhaps they would find a replacement. Of course, the tour was cancelled, but further in the future, maybe Led Zeppelin would get back together.